Jennifer from the Worcester branch of the Wayne County Public Library. Did you know that May is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month? I know that's a mouthful, but I thought it would be a good time to give you a few recommendations for good books by Asian American authors. As incidents of violence against Asian Americans are rising, it's a good time to learn more about the various cultures and the struggles some Asian Americans face through reading about their experiences. For historical fiction, I can highly recommend two books set in very different contexts in World War II. The Mermaid from Jeju by Sumi Hahn follows Go Junja, a young woman who is the newest deep-sea diver in her family and community on Jeju, the largest island off Korea's southern coast. These divers, or haengyo, collect and trade abalone and other sea delicacies, and when Junja takes her mother's place on her annual trading trip up the mountain, she falls in love with a mountain boy and returns home just in time to lose her mother after a harrowing dive. As Junja's family falls apart, the war invades her small community, with Japanese occupiers leaving and American soldiers moving in. Post-war politics become as treacherous as wartime battles, and Junja's life as she once knew it is gone forever. This historical saga gives you a glimpse of how World War II affected other parts of the world, including the economy and culture of the haengyo, or mermaids, of Jeju, and how those changes carried through following generations of Koreans and Korean Americans. You can find this book on our new bookshelves as well as on Overdrive. A very different view of World War II comes from the young adult book We Are Not Free by Traci Chee. This book follows a group of young Japanese American friends from San Francisco as their families first face harassment and discrimination, and then forced relocation to detention centers in California and Utah for the duration of the war. As they struggle with missing their all-American activities, they also grapple with feelings of anger and betrayal as the government questions their loyalty, and they question what it means to be American and to be free. This heartbreaking book, based on the experiences of the author's grandparents, can be found in our teen room or on Overdrive, both as an e-book and as an e-audiobook with a full cast. For historical romance, you might want to check out The Duke Who Didnt by Courtney Milan. Miss Chloe Fong is a no-nonsense, list-making, business-oriented young woman determined to turn her father's secret sauce recipe into financial success, and she has no time at all for romance. Jeremy Wentworth, the Duke of Lansing, has been hiding his title from the village in order to fit in, and he's ready to woo Chloe and to prove to her that he can be dependable. There's so much more to the book than that, but it covers the gamut from the humorous banter and occasional slapstick situations to more serious revelations of Chloe's anxiety and the subtle racism they both face as people of Chinese descent in Victorian England. It's sweet and sexy, serious and sunshiny, and altogether unforgettable. You can find the book through CleveNet and the ebook through Overdrive. While it's rare to find Asian characters in historical romance, there are many more in contemporary romance, and I particularly enjoy this treasure from Roselle Lim, Natalie Tan's book of luck and fortune. It has two of my favorite things in a novel: magical realism and really great food. After her mother's death, Natalie Tan returns home and is shocked by what she discovers. First, her vibrant Chinatown neighborhood is fading, with businesses failing and families leaving. And second, she has inherited her grandmother's restaurant. She visits the neighborhood seer, who reads the restaurant's fortune and tells Natalie that she must cook 3 recipes from her grandmother's cookbook to aid her neighbors before she can succeed with a restaurant. And since Natalie felt abandoned by those neighbors when she was growing up, she resists at first. But when her cooking draws in a handsome stranger and she finds help in unexpected places, Natalie begins to realize that maybe she's had it wrong all along. This is such a delightful book to read because the magic of the writing just draws you in and makes you eager to believe that everything will somehow turn out for the best. The neighborhood will come back to life, Natalie will find success with the restaurant, and true love will prevail. But nothing comes without growing and learning and working hard, and you'll find yourself cheering Natalie on throughout her story. Speaking of Chinese restaurants, you'll find plenty of descriptions of good food in the Noodle Shop Mystery Series by Vivien Chien, starting with Death by Dumpling. Lana Lee's parents own a Chinese restaurant in a Cleveland suburb, and Lana is sort of stuck working there while she sorts out her life. She has friends and family acquaintances throughout Asia Village, the plaza where her family's restaurant is located. And she thought everyone was part of a big, somewhat happy family until the day that the property manager, Thomas Fung, turns up dead. When the cause of death is pinpointed as an allergic reaction to the restaurant's shrimp dumplings, even though everyone at the restaurant knew about Mr. Fung's allergy, Lana and head chef Peter fall under suspicion, and Lana is determined to find out just what really happened before her own life is in danger. This cozy mystery series is an enjoyable one, especially if you have familiarity with Cleveland. Honestly, I got hungry every time she mentioned dim sum at Li Wah. The series includes a slight thread of romance, but it doesn't overshadow the whodunit aspect of the books, and it addresses some of the stereotypes still aimed at the Asian community today. Most of the books are available here at Worcester, with others available through CleveNet, and all 7 of the books are on Overdrive, with the first 3 also available as e-audiobooks. Look for the 8th and final book come January. Finally, for nonfiction, we have Minor Feelings, An Asian American Reckoning by Cathy Park Hong. As the daughter of Korean immigrants, Hong grew up with shame, suspicion, and melancholy, and she only later understood that these minor feelings happened when being an invisible minority made her invalidate her own experiences. Her blend of memoir, essays, and cultural criticism offers an eye-opening view of what it meant for her to honor herself and her Korean heritage in the face of an American consciousness that both eliminated that difference and denigrated it. You can find this book here at Worcester, in CleveNet, and on Overdrive as both an e-book and e-audiobook. Now that's a lot of books, I know. And believe me, when I tell you, I could have picked even more to share with you. There's no one book that can give you a complete overview of the Asian American experience because there are so many different cultures within that umbrella and so many different people within each culture that it would take you a lifetime to get a more comprehensive understanding. But I hope that at least one of these books will sound interesting to you and lead you to other books over time. As always, stay safe, be kind to each other, and happy reading.